It's time to pick a side. The Border War is on the air with BG and TanMan. All right, welcome back to the Border War. This is going to be our Major League Baseball segment for the week. We're going to mostly talk about the Braves. In fact, I think we're only going to talk about the Braves.
Well,
we will.
Unless you want to talk about the Miami Marlins or the Baltimore Orioles.
We are going to mention one other team just to laugh at them, and that would be the New York Yankees, who lost to the Braves last night in 11 innings.
I don't know. I'll let you laugh. I'm not poking that bear.
Well, I'm assuming the Yankees aren't listening, and it'll be okay.
They might be. Aaron Judge might be listening today.
Well, Aaron Judge is what I was going to bring up. Aaron Judge, I think it was in the third or the fourth inning, somewhere around there. He hits a home run that clearly was just fisted off the inside of the bat. He's just that strong. And it basically, makes its way out of the park. Well, when Acuna hits what ended up being the game-winning home run, and it's the same kind of home run, SportsCenter's all over it. It's a pop-up home run. That wasn't a real home run. Well, what happened to Judge's home? It's the same thing. I get so sick of that.
Because he's Judge, man.
It's because he plays for the Yankees.
He's the Yankees.
It's the Yankees.
Well, we'll look at the Braves as we sit basically the halfway mark of the season. The Braves 49-34. They're actually a half a game ahead of the Milwaukee Brewers for the best record in the National League. They're 3.5 games up on the Phillies, and here's the kicker.
Stunning.
7 up on the Nationals.
And most of that is head-to-head stuff, man. They've just beaten them.
Well,
they've beaten them both.
I don't know about you. I keep waiting for the Nationals to kind of flip the switch and hit the gas.
All the talk now is that the Nationals that exist right now is going to go on a streak. But, I think now everybody's sort of transitioned to saying the Nationals are going to make a big trade nobody sees coming.
Well, it's been waiting on the Nationals to kind of catch fire for 3 months now. And here we are. They're 7 games back. And, the All-Star break around the corner. I don't know.
An All-Star team, which might I add, people want to say that Braves fans are not great baseball fans. They've been great at All-Star voting because that All-Star team could have 4 or 5 Braves on it, the way it's sitting right now.
Wasn't Freeman leading the All-Star voting?
He sure was.
A few days ago.
And right now, I think he's a legitimate MVP candidate. He's had that kind of year. I think they've got some Rookie of the Year candidates
definitely.
With an S. And you know what's great about this? This team is still building. This is a rebuilding team that's in first place. This is a rebuilding team that has the best record in the National League. And I think, at least for you and me, I think we're pretty typical Braves fans in that we are much more interested in them when they're winning. 2013, I think they had a winning record and they made the playoffs. 2013, longer ago than it sounds like when you say it. But I was thinking on the way over here today, the season started out, I think, day one, most Braves fans are sort of wincing. Like, okay, this is our chance to be above 500. We need to be 1-0. Then they go 2-0, and you're like, okay, so that never happened last year. I've said it 100 show. I think the first show we did last year was July the 17th. And on July the 17th, the Braves were at 500. And as soon as during our show, they fell apart.
You know what it was?
It's us. It's the curse of the border war, man.
The curse of the border war, but they fell off because the show disappeared. The lost episode of the border war. The lost episode hit the airwaves, quickly fell off shortly thereafter. So did the Braves season. We keep it going. We're going strong.
Yeah.
So are the Braves.
I like that analogy. So I guess the first question is, now that we, are getting into trade territory, trade deadline coming up. I'm not even exactly sure what the date of it is.
July 31st.
Okay, so about another month.
In a month.
I don't think this is going to be a team that does a lot. I think there's a couple of places where you might see some action. They need more production out of third base. Offensively, third base is not. They haven't found a single guy there that has consistently produced for them.
Okay, well, you got Camargo at third.
Yeah, you got Camargo there. Flaherty, Culbertson backing him up.
Well, and you've got, who's the third? Austin Riley down the minor leagues.
Right.
If I'm the Braves, I'd look.
Well, but it would be a stabilizing kind of trade. I'm talking about, somebody that's on the Blue Jays or somebody that's just out of the hunt. And it would probably be a veteran player. I'm thinking like a Walt Weiss kind of guy from back in the day.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm Atlanta, I've heard a lot of Braves fans going, we need to get in the Bryce Harper market, and we need to get in the Jacob deGrom market. The price for those two guys, one, if Washington's not trading Harper, if you're going to get Harper, he's going to be a free agent next offseason. But the price for either one of those guys would be way more than what I would be willing to pay. We talked about it when we talked about the NBA and the Lakers and Kawhi Leonard. But the difference is Atlanta is not Atlanta's not an older team.
No,
looking for that one piece to push them over the hump to finally get that elusive World Series.
No, they're just starting.
This is a team just starting out.
Yeah,
just building, and the end goal here should be World Series, multiple.
Yes,
World Series,
and Bryce Harper would cripple that effort.
To get either one of those guys, to get deGrom, you'd have to start clearing out that farm system. And to me, I would just be afraid that, okay, let's say pick a random number. You've got 5 guys. And, okay, we'll give you 3 of them. I'd be scared to death that I'd give you the wrong one that would turn into the best of the groups. I would just hoard all these young guys, young arms, until I made the decision of who I wanted to keep. But I would not go out chasing somebody like deGrom.
And because of the sanctions, I believe international signing period started today.
Can they even do that?
Well, that's the problem. I mean, the Braves really can't. And so now the domestic draft becomes everything to them. I think they have the number 8 pick coming up this year for next season. Mm-hmm. They don't have the pieces that they thought they were going to have as far as like going out and getting a guy like him.
Yeah.
That might have been in the cards this time last year, because of the number of international prospects that they had signed. But now we know that they did all kinds of awful things to sign them. So they don't have any of those guys now. And aren't going to have any for a while.
No. You hear that they could go out and get some help in the bullpen. I know the bullpen has been a little shaky late in ball games. But, to me, just I wouldn't touch any of my top prospects. I wouldn't go chasing a third baseman because I think that you've got the 5th best record in baseball right now. All the 4 teams ahead of you, they're all in the American League. I wouldn't touch a thing, man. Bullpen help, if as long as it didn't require me dipping too deep into my farm system, I wouldn't mess with any of it.
Right, because your point is you're ahead of schedule. This year, there's no reason to think. Let's just be honest. If you change nothing, right? Mm-hmm. You don't unload Markakis. You don't do anything.
Nothing.
This time next year, this should be a better baseball team. If you do nothing, this should be a better baseball team. Yeah, whereas the Nationals, they are a veteran team. They're the team that should be in first place right now, but they're not.
Well, they should be. They're hovering around 500. You keep, like I said earlier,
but my point being is you can wait the Nationals out.
Well, you keep waiting for Washington to flip a switch and start chasing you down. We're 3 months into the season. Bryce Harper is hitting .217.
Right.
His slugging percentage is 40 points below what his career slugging percentage is. To make up that ground is going to take a massive turnaround up there. And even so, I mean that team hasn't shown me, outside of a few guys that they have, that team hasn't shown me that they're capable of hawking anybody down right now.
Yeah, and I think it's good for Atlanta fans to remember too that how did you get here to start with? How did you get there the first time? Through your farm team. Other than Greg Maddux and Denny Nagel and a couple of guys like that. That entire Braves dynasty
came
out of
through.
Greenville, South Carolina.
They all came up through.
And so this is going to be the same way. Here's the thing. I think that what you're seeing from Atlanta fans, though, what you just said, you said that the emphasis should be on World Series, like multiple World Series. Well, let me just retort what I think your average Brave fan is thinking is, we were really good for a long time, big man, and we only won one. And I think a lot of Braves fans think back to those days and think, man, I wish we had the big bat. I wish we had McGuire. We had one of those guys.
How many World Series?
Because it was always offense that they didn't have.
Well, how many World Series did they lose? Twins, Blue Jays,
3 or
Yankees
4.
twice.
Yeah,
they lost in the NLCS. Those teams that lost, they had everything they needed to win.
They just didn't.
I've
always thought
it was always a guy all of a sudden going cold in the postseason, or somebody not being able to hit a lick. But you win that many games, you win that many division titles, you had every opportunity. You were as good or better than every team in baseball for 14 years.
I always felt like that Bobby Cox had that team conditioned to win over 162, but that when the switch flipped and baseball becomes a very different thing.
Yes, it does.
And that he was not equipped to flip that switch also, that they approached those 5 and 7 game series sort of like, oh, well, we lost today. Let's wait it out and see what happens tomorrow. And I could be completely full of it. I don't have any reason to think that. That was just always my gut
I always thought
feeling.
Most of those teams, it always seemed like, with a month left in the season, they were. It was a done deal. Like it wasn't a number. A month left in the season, you're like, okay, we pretty much got the division title on lock, and they kind of pulled back off the reins a little bit, and come playoff time, it always seemed to bite them.
Yeah,
but
because they dominated that division.
They did, but that to me, just getting one World Series out of that run, it doesn't mean that they were missing something. I think they just, for whatever reason, just kind of petered out.
The 96 series with the Yankees, I think that's the one that sticks in everybody's craw, because it just looked like they were going to
in Yankee Stadium, come home.
And I remember
lose 4 in a
one
row.
of those games, Maddox just dominated the Yankees. I mean, I don't think he threw a pitch above 79 miles an hour all night. They looked awful. They couldn't hit. And then the game gets rained out, and they have to wait a day, and Mark Wohler strikes again. And, that's
96 and 98. When they lost to the Padres in the NLCS.
That was rough.
That was... To me, that was pretty.
And that was sort of the end of the real crack at winning it all. After that, they were relevant. They hung around.
Well, they went back to the World Series the next year. We got swept. I think the Yankees swept them in '99. It wasn't even close. And then, I think they lost to the Mets. I don't know. I think it might have lost to the Cardinals in 2000.
They lost to the Cardinals, and they got swept by the Cardinals in a 5-game series.
We're going down.
Yeah, and speaking of sweeping the Cardinals, this team right now, as we sit here on July the 3rd, I think they're playing the best baseball they've played all season. They just won 3 straight on the road in St. Louis. They go to New York. Those are 2 of the best 6 teams in baseball. They've won 4 straight. This team is sort of streaky. I was reading an article today that made this argument. I can't remember who it was, or I would give them credit. So this is not my idea, but I do agree with it. They don't go on 9 and 10 game streaks, but they'll have a really good series, and then they'll play sort of 500 baseball for a week. And then,
well, so they lost 2 or 3 to Baltimore, lost 2 or 3 to the Reds.
Yeah, and those things tend to happen, and then they play great baseball against the better teams. But that's ultimately what's going to matter. How big of a deal has Acuna been this season? I mean, this kid, he's a superstar.
He's been as advertised.
Yeah.
And so it's what we've heard for, 2 years now? Man, when this guy gets up, when Acuna gets up, he's going to stay. He's the real deal.
And I tell you,
he sure is.
Let me tell you what I love about him. And I think you're going to get what I'm saying as a lifelong Braves fan. Even when we were good, we never had that guy. You know what I'm saying? That it guy. And I thought Jason Hayward was going to be that guy. When Jason Hayward hit his first at bat out of Turner Field, I thought, oh my, here he is. And that didn't pan out. Acuna seems, not only is he the guy, he's got that stuff. And when you put him in a spot where he can be the hero of the game, he delivers. He does not choke. I mean, you think about that situation last night. I mean, you're in a tie game, extra innings in Yankee Stadium. You're coming back off a sprained MCL. You've only been back for what?
Yeah.
Just play baseball.
Well, he's been wanting someone like that.
Yes.
For years now.
Yes.
Somebody, just basically somebody else on the team to help take some of that bat, some of the burden of being the bat in the lineup off of
and then you've got, okay, let's just look at it. You've got Markakis having a career year at 35 years old. Ozzie Albies has come out of nowhere and just clutch hit after clutch hit after clutch hit. The other night, I mean, Kurt Suzuki, who's the second catcher, but a smart at bat, okay? And he's the guy that ties the game up on 11 pitches, keeps fouling them off. Dansby Swanson, his defense is obviously unquestioned, but he's done, I think, what he needed to do in the first half of the season to sort of take some. I mean, you think about it. You don't hear people criticizing him. There's no,
he was getting thrown under the bus a lot last year.
Oh, sure.
Most of it, the first half of the year,
because people thought he was just going to show up and immediately.
Just walk off walk in the door and hit 300.
Now,
I mean, it doesn't work like
Ender has been a little bit inconsistent, and like I said, the third base position, no matter who they've started from an offensive standpoint, has been a little inconsistent. But look, this is 2018 Major League Baseball. There's a bunch of teams in Major League Baseball, and not that much talent to spread around. So all in all, I mean, obviously this is the understatement of the year, but the Braves are the most surprising team in baseball.
That's what I was getting ready to ask you.
Period.
I think it's a toss-up between them and Seattle.
I'm not that surprised by Seattle because I don't pay attention to them.
Well,
so for me, the Braves are. Well, I can't tell you how surprised I am. Look at me right now. I know the folks listening. Can you tell how? Look at me.
Yeah, I see. I'm seen shocked. Plenty of you. I know what you look like. Are they? Like I said, I think it's a toss-up. You can make the argument that the Braves or the Mariners. I'll listen to either one, but I don't think there's any question that they are at the top of the list.
Yes.
Of the most surprises, biggest surprise in baseball. Bleacher Report, I think, to start the year, had the Braves finishing third at 74-88. I think it's pretty safe to say that they will be eclipsing that.
I think
a wide margin.
I think I picked them to go 82-80. I believe that's where I had them, around 500. I thought they would.
So I don't remember an exact. Now I don't know if I gave it an exact number, but I do remember saying that this team will be playing meaningful baseball at the end of the season. Meaningful games in September. That's kind of a broad statement to make. I get it, but I didn't envision this.
Okay, so no one did. There's not a person on the planet Earth who's not wearing an Atlanta Braves uniform who envisioned this. And anybody who says they are, they're lying. All right, so that being said, and we've said this team's ahead of schedule, and this is a rebuilding team, and they should wait it out, and they shouldn't go make big trades and give away their future to try to win now when that isn't even really. But here's my question. Even if they do all that, of course, this team win it all. Is this a case of a team, and I use this analogy or not, I'm a Gamecock fan, but like I remember our Final Four basketball team, who you and I both think were not good enough to be a Final Four team, but they just didn't know that. Is this Braves team that group of kids? Are they so new to this, just keep winning games? This
team kind of reminds me a little bit of that Marlins team, I think it was 2003. This
until they just won it all. And you're only going to have to deal with one of them.
You're only going to have to deal with one of them. I still think if you get in the playoffs, that's got some experience. Arizona's got some experience. The Dodgers are going to be there in the end.
Here's my big concern.
I don't think so.
In the series, honestly, my biggest concern on this whole team is Tehran 5-game set, that can hurt you.
What's his
Season they finished. Has been there.
Been on the no. Don't move him. He's going to be fine. Camp. Maybe that ship has sailed.
I think the guy.
Real substance that would help push you over the finish line.
Right, and if you go out there and look, and Braves insider sites, the most recent trade rumors you can find were written June the 2nd, June the 3rd.
Yeah.
There's not any kind of buzz around stuff at all right now. Entering the month when it's going to happen, that's surprising.
A lot of the baseball trades, if
you would start to hear a little noise, but not yet.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that's a road that they go down.
Then pick up maybe one or two guys. Maybe they move, some minor league talent up at third base, like you said. We'll see.
I would just be wary of kind of messing with the mojo right now.
Yeah,
sometimes you
would
leave
be
it alone,
absolutely
man.
Crazy to get rid of Nick Markakis right now, because again, we talked about in our NBA segment. With the idea of the Hornets signing Tony Allen, man, that guy could be a locker room guy. I think they've got the stuff right now. I'm like you, man. Just keep playing baseball.
Yeah,
it's a simple game. Go out and play. Sweep the Yankees. That's what you do.
I say just sweep the Yankees. That's all we really want you to do.
I think everybody in the listening audience can agree with that.
Yeah, we all hate the Yankees. All right, we want to thank you for listening. Remind you, we are on Twitter at the Border War. He's at AG Border War. I'm at TanMan3264. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean